Well, folks, more news on the coronavirus and its impact on the state of Wisconsin. Yesterday, the governor closed 40 state parks in the state, and that, of course, includes all the boat launches that are in those state parks. And we're very pleased to have Preston Cole, the Secretary of the DNR here in the state of Wisconsin, with us right now. First of all, good morning, Preston. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, John. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your show. I'm excited.
Well, the first thing I got to ask you is the closing of the 40 state parks. What was the reasoning behind that, Preston?
It became untenable. I mean, we had record numbers. Places like High Cliff up in the northeast part of the state, in a 2-day period on the 4th and 5th of April, had 16,000 people rotate through that park. And many of our other parks are seeing record numbers that they're seeing in a weekend what they would necessarily see in a month. And of course, the reason that, outdoor recreation, parks being open and the circumstances around enjoying fishing and hiking and those kinds of things, because it does something to slow us down. We know those connections are important for us, specifically during these times where people need to be outdoors. However, the onslaught of individuals, again, who were not practicing social distancing made it actually a public health threat. And in keeping with the Department of Health Services mandates to practice social distancing, people were just not following the rules, let alone the vandalism that we had seen in many of our restrooms where people were breaking off the hand sanitizers and stealing the hand sanitizers as well. Lots of trash, good park enthusiasts pack their lunch in and pack it out. And that wasn't being abided by. So being in a late winter, early spring mode, we haven't ramped up with all our staff. And so it became an operational issue as well.
And is there a list of those state parks that are closed available?
Absolutely. dnr.wisconsin.gov and get that list. And so it's currently up on our webpage, and people can see where those closures are and impacts in their own lives.
Of course, this happens when everybody is walleye crazy around the state of Wisconsin. I mean, we have, in past years before this happened, we have thousands of boats going to the Bay of Green Bay, the Wisconsin River and the Wisconsin Dells, the Mississippi River from Red Wing, Minnesota, all the way down to Prairie du Chien. Everybody wants to go walleye fishing this time of year. So other than those 40 parks, state parks that are closed, are other boat launches, available to fishermen right now?
Well, I'll just remind folks that boat launches that were in those properties that we closed are no longer open because they are within the boundary of our state park, natural area, or recreation area. Other than that, they would need to check with their local municipalities to see if those are open. And should they launch from a private or a local municipality and pass a closed DNR park, recreation area, natural area, they have to keep motoring on by because that's trespassing should they land on that property.
So, but there are hundreds of other DNR launches in the state of Wisconsin. Those are available.
Absolutely. Again, much of the closures impact the southern part of the state of Wisconsin. And the Northeast is wide open. Our northern region is wide open in terms of state parks and our boat launches. I just worry that people would show up at a launch that they've traditionally shown up at. That's a local launch, and we don't have any control over those. While ours may be open, local municipalities may be closing theirs.
Well, for example, the O'Connell area up on the west side of the Bay of Green Bay closed their launch last week, mainly because there were so many out-of-state license plates in their parking lot and they were overflowing. So it is a county or a municipal decision whether to keep the boat launches open or not?
Correct. And folks who travel from out of state should be checking with their home state as what those regulations or restrictions say as to where they should be traveling to. And my hope is that folks are following the law of their own states.
So, again, though, folks, if they want to put their boat in somewhere in the state of Wisconsin, that is, they should call the local government or ahead of time to make sure the launches are open?
Absolutely. That's correct.
Okay, that would be the best thing to do. I wanted to ask you this. When we film shows now, we only have a couple people in the boat to maintain social distancing. So normally we're fishing in a 20-foot boat. You got one person in the back, one person way up in the front, and a photographer in the middle, and we're staying 6 feet apart. Is that cool if we're not related to be in the boat together?
Yes, and again, 6 feet is the standard. The other standard is if you want to practice social distancing while on the water, buy a yacht. Get 2 people on a yacht, get a big boat. The bigger the boat, the more social distancing they can occur. While I'm not trying to, be funny about it, but it is a circumstance, again, when you're not related, that you should be practicing social distancing even while on a boat.
So it is not illegal for two buddies to go fishing as long as they practice social distancing in the boat.
Absolutely.
Okay, then I had
Correct.
to ask you this question because when Sarah and I did the interview last week, we had hundreds and hundreds of people emailing us and asking us this. So I am media exempt because I'm a member of the media, can go and film my shows. But what about Joe Brown, who wants to go fishing and lives in Milwaukee, for example, and wants to drive to Green Bay and fish? Can he be ticketed or prosecuted for that?
Well, it's certainly going to be up to the state police, local jurisdictions, but nobody's stopping individuals at the border of Milwaukee or at the city limits of Green Bay. Our responsibility is to remind people as to what the Safer at Home order says. Stay within your own community. And again, as I said earlier, your own community is where you send your kids to school, where you do your family shopping, where you live is your community. And so I would advise people to refrain from moving too far outside of their community, if at all, to participate in outdoor recreation. There's too much at stake as it relates to moving around. We have seen the documents, the research, and what it says about, contracting this disease. And folks need to see this as a public health crisis. It's like I'm really, perplexed why some individuals believe that they are unable to contract, this particular disease. To minimize the impact on their friends, their neighbors, strangers that they may interact with. Let's be smart, folks. Let's be smart and do the right thing and make sure that we operate within our own communities that we call home.
I'm media exempt, so not talking about me. So would I get arrested if I was Joe Brown for hooking my boat up and going to the Wisconsin Dells to fish the walleyes on the Wisconsin River? Could I get arrested for that?
Well, again, it's going to be up to the local jurisdiction.
Okay.
Where you came from. These are police matters. The Department of Natural Resources will not be, writing tickets or putting people in jail for these types of violations. These are, local police officials, state police officials, county police officials who have to make these determinations where people are coming from into these waters.
If you're going to go out of your area, beware. You could be prosecuted by a local municipality. Is that what you're saying?
It's certainly going to be at their discretion, but everything's in play from the arrest to issuing a ticket or sending you on your way to make you pack up and leave. Everything's on the table.
We may check in with you in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully this will be lifted on the 24th of April.
Well, you and I think alike. We hope for that. I think that doing so will give a lot of relief to a lot of folks. Not doing so means that we still are in a public health crisis, and the public health officials believe that if they lift it, that there's going to be trouble in the waters. And so I'm going to pay attention to public health officials. I'm going to remain in my community and do the things that I need to do right here at home. But I know for, John Gillespie and your show, you got the number one show. And, your motto is, this urgency to get outside. And if I had a mantra, it would be that too. There is some urgency to get outside, but let's get outside within our own communities. Number one show, number one state for fishing walleyes, and we appreciate all that you do for the people of the state of Wisconsin.
That's much appreciated. So I guess real quick in summary, the current stay-at-home order stays in effect until April 24th. Folks can view the 40 state parks that we have closed again at what website?
At dnr.wi.gov.
And stay in your community, which means stay in basically in your school district, correct?
Yeah, you're local. What's local for you? Absolutely.
And there's no law that's saying you can't go somewhere else, but you could be arrested or prosecuted by a local municipality.
Well, the safer at home the issuance of that says stay in your own communities. And yes, folks can suffer, interactions with law enforcement at that particular time if they're too far afield. And, I regret to tell folks that, it's going to be up to the local jurisdiction and the person that pulls them over or is at the boat launch if it's not closed. And so let's be safe. Let's be safe and not put law enforcement in that circumstance to have to do that.
Well, much appreciated, Preston. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I got to get you in the boat this year.
Well, I would enjoy that. And again, maybe I can teach you a few tricks on how to really catch walleye.
All right. Preston Cole, the Secretary of the DNR for the state of Wisconsin. Thank you very much, sir, and you have a good day.
I will. And thank you again, John. Be well.